So by way of quick introduction, my name is Nancy Klonowski. I am the integrated quoting deployment lead for the Americas. So today I'm going to take you through where you can find all of the collateral that we have put out and available on the Partner Ready portal to help you navigate the integrated quoting solution, and to really just kind of layer off of what Syed just took you through in terms of opportunity creation and deal registration. The integrated quoting or quote piece flows very naturally with what he has just taken you through, because all of the information that is captured on your opportunity and your deal registration will be pulled in and flow directly into your quoting that you're creating. And of course, this is the new vehicle to help you escalate pricing as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take you through where to locate some of the collateral that we have in place. So if you log into the Partner Ready portal and just go to My Workspace and click on Deal Management, it will take you to a landing page that will cover not only deal registration content, but also IQ support materials. And let me just close that. So you will see information out there and available based on what Syed just took you through. And we also have, under the IQ support materials, additional training resources. So we have training material that is in the form of, PowerPoint and screenshots. But for those of you who may learn better based on, a real visual, we have a whole series of demo videos also available. I'm just going to click through this real quickly to show you what's out there. We do have a basic training that's roughly about 30 minutes. It takes you through the basics of IQ. The advanced training is a little bit longer, takes you through the whole escalated pricing process. And then we have some just kind of quick tips and tricks type videos that are only like 3 to 5 minutes in total. How to create a revision, what our pricing strategy is all about, canceling a quote, how to escalate pricing. So there's some really good resources out there and available for you to help you navigate with the tool. So let me just make my way back here for a second. We also have tips and tricks. This is just a one-pager that steps you through like all of the required steps to create a quote. We have FAQs that are quite extensive, so we're continuously updating this based on feedback or questions that we receive from our partners, areas that may require clarification, so that's also a very good reference for you. And then we also publish a monthly newsletter. So in the newsletter, we try to provide you information about new features that the tool might be offering, because we're continuously updating the tool based on feedback from our partners. It also provides some tips and tricks, as well as if we've had process changes, things that you need to be aware of, we try to include those in our monthly newsletters as well. So hopefully this is a good resource for everybody. Once you kind of step away from this webinar and you're like, oh gosh, what did she share with me? These videos and training resources give you a lot of really good information. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Go. So just as you would have from that main landing page, if you click on your deal management widget, it will take you to your opportunity deal registration and quote page. So this is just going to take a second to open. So right now, I'm just logged in as one of our test partners, so we can see we have a lot of, opportunities that are already out there. So I'm just going to grab one of these opportunities that we have. I should also share that we do host an Ask the Experts forum as well. It's every second week on Wednesdays, so I can certainly send those invites as well. As you begin using the tool, if you have any questions, it's a great forum to be able to come in and ask those questions. So it's pretty well attended by many of our partners and a lot of our distribution partners as well. And we take the opportunity to share, new updates with the team. And again, it's really a way for you to come in and maybe get your questions answered. So I've logged into an opportunity. So this was an opportunity that was already created. A deal registration has already been completed. The quotes tab is the new tab that is now available for partners with integrated quoting access. And of course, across the U.S., we granted access to all of our partners as we supported the rollout of the tool. If you don't see a quotes tab when you log in, your partner portal admin can grant you access to integrated quoting. And once that's completed, then your quotes tab will appear. If you do encounter any issues, by all means, you can always reach out via Get Support, or I'll give you also an address that you can contact us if you should have any questions. IQ@hpe.com. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go into my quotes tab. When I pull this up, you can see that there's been many quotes have been created already. And again, we use this for training and demonstration purposes. I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a new quote. So create quote is the button I'm going to click. And I'm just going to close this to give a little bit more real estate. So what's amazing about this is everything from your opportunity that you've just created is now going to automatically pull into your quote. So there is no need for you to re-enter information. Everything that you already captured in your quote will be pulled in, in your opportunity will be pulled in. So this is just taking a moment to load. Once that's completed, I will just take you through the tabs so you can see. So just starting at the top of the quote, we can see that we don't yet have a quote number established, and as we step through the process, you'll see that will get created. We currently have a quote name, which is actually the name of the opportunity. This can be edited, so this field is an editable field, so I'll just change that to demo. We have a start date of today's date, and of course, as we step through the process, you'll see the information beginning to flow. And the quote status is also very important because, again, as you step through the process, the quote statuses will change, and recognizing those quote statuses will be key. There's a few additional fields here. If there's any other kind of customer-specific quote ID or RFQ number that you want to reference, you can include it in your quote. There's no need for you to do so. They are optional fields. Taking your eye over to the right-hand side, there is a request assistance. So as you're stepping through your quote, if you do encounter any issues, you can click on the request assistance. Providing you have a quote number, it will allow you to do that, and that will in turn create a case and go to our PDO team to help address your concerns. If I draw your attention to the middle section of the quote, you can see we have a few tabs here. So we'll start with the Opportunity and Quote tab. So again, everything that you had in your opportunity has been pulled in. At the moment, I don't yet have any deal registration information. I do need to refresh my pricing to be able to make that subsequent call to Salesforce to retrieve the deal registration information. But assuming you do have an approved deal reg, the applicable benefits, et cetera, will be pulled into your quote. If I go to my customer tab, again, everything that was captured in the opportunity has been pulled into my customer tab. Okay, sorry about that. Just taking a second. And then if I go to my partner tab, looks like it has a mind of its own at the moment. Just one sec. Okay, I'm going to click on my partner tab, and in here I'm going to see my reseller information and my distributor information. And again, this is all test data. So these are fields, as I mentioned, that get pulled in automatically, and that's the reason why when you open a quote, it will automatically take you to the pricing and terms tab. So everything that is in your opportunity doesn't really need to be revisited. Excuse me. So going to your pricing and terms tab is really where you're probably going to spend most of your time. So I'm going to call your attention down to the products and configurations section of the quote, and this is where you will be able to upload your configuration. The preferred method is with your OCA UCID, and you will import a configuration with that UCID. If you do, however, have an XML document, you can use the upload config. But again, we encourage our partners to use the UCID whenever possible. If you are trying to just order a standalone product, you can add product individually, or you can use this quick add feature, which will allow you to copy and paste products from an Excel spreadsheet as an example. You also have the ability to punch out to OCA from this tool to create a configuration, but usually those who are managing in the pricing space usually have already been given a configuration or a UCID from your technical team. So I'm just going to grab a UCID that I have here, just show you how that is loaded. So again, import config, and I can copy my UCID into this field. And if I have multiple UCIDs, I can add multiple at one time. You just need to ensure that you have a comma separating each of your UCID numbers. So this is a relatively new feature. So before we would have to enter one at a time. This does now allow you to enter multiple at one time. Again, it may take a little bit longer to load. It is calling out to OCA to pull in the information relative to those configurations, but it is a feature that I know our partners were asking for, and we've just recently been able to deploy that. So I've got a UCID in. I'm going to click import, and this is the call that's being made out to the OneConfig Advanced tool, and it's going to pull in the configuration associated to this identifier. So I see that my UCID is there. I can take a look at my configuration by either hitting the plus button to expand it, or you can use the expand all feature here or collapse all. So we just want to take a double check, make sure this was the configuration we were expecting to pull in, and then once confirmed, we can just go ahead, collapse that, and we've now have a configuration added to our quote. At this point, this is when I would encourage you to save your quote. There is not an auto-save feature within integrated quoting. To do so, it really takes a lot of resources within the system to do autosave. So I would encourage you that throughout the process that you occasionally hit save to make sure that you do not lose any of your work. I've now clicked save. I have a quote number that's now been assigned to this, this quote. This quote number is our reference for you, but what you're going to see happen, assuming I can get through this, because I did receive a notification just before this that our pricing service was down for a moment. So what will happen though is a deal ID or an Eclipse deal ID is generated with this quote. So when you're providing pricing or a request, back to distribution, we encourage that you use the deal ID that gets generated and not the quote number per se. But this is a number that is searchable within Salesforce. So so it isn't completely, lost in the system, but our distribution partners tend to be used to using the deal ID, which is also available in the price communication tool. So that's what we will encourage you to continue to use. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to refresh pricing. And hopefully our pricing service is back up. We did have a unexpected downtime, so let's give this a whirl. Okay, so what has happened now is a price point has been returned. Now, the pricing that will be returned for anything that is under $100,000 threshold, which is the threshold for allowing for escalated pricing. So anything below 100K will return your medallion and deal reg benefits if applicable. So again, we encourage you to have that approved deal registration in place before you come in to generate a quote so that you can have those benefits applied to your quote. And again, your medallion is based on partner status. So I don't know for this particular test partner what we have set up in the system in terms of status, but it will return the medallion plus deal reg benefits. Now, let's just assume I was happy with that price. Maybe I'm just doing a budgetary quote initially, and I'm clearly not over threshold with this configuration. I can go ahead and I can accept the price. And this is when the Eclipse deal is going to be generated. You can see there's a warning message up at the top about the configuration. There is a more button that you can click to see what type of information is being returned. That is based on a click check that is being done. Only if the error message or the message that you received is an unbuildable error are you required to take action. So in this situation, I just received a warning message on this config, so I'm completely fine. So you can see now that my quote status has moved to orderable status, and this is when my Eclipse deal is generated, and here's the deal ID, the 97 number that you can see right there in the middle of your screen. That is the number that you will want to provide to distribution. This deal ID number will already have been sent to PCOM, or a price communication tool, for them to retrieve. You'll notice also in terms of the pricing, you'll see that it is a recommended price. So this is a price that we have provided to you, our reseller, but you still need to work with distribution to receive your final price, because your price conversations are between you and distribution. Through the integrated quoting solution, we're only providing what we would consider a recommended price. Now, so this quote is orderable status. It also, I just want to note that the end date is aligning with my deal registration expiration date. That will only occur when your quote status is in orderable, in an orderable status. So if you have not accepted your quote, and your quote may be in pending price acceptance or quote review status, your end date will actually default to 90 days. So in order to align it with your deal registration expiration date, you do want to ensure that you've accepted your quote at a certain point within the process. Now, in this example, I went ahead, I accepted an instant price, it was below threshold, but now maybe the partner or the customer has come back and has said, I actually need to have a few more of those configurations added to my quote and to my deal. So all I need to do is click New Version. And this will ensure that your quote information and your deal ID remain linked together. If you were to go back to your opportunity and click Create New Quote, every time you create a new quote number, you're going to have a new deal ID number. So in order to really ensure that you have a consistent pricing strategy, if you're escalating pricing with our bid desk team, they really do encourage you to just ensure that you're using one quote that you can go ahead and version and update, so that you're not having multiple deal IDs created. So I clicked on the new version. It's just telling me that a version is to be assigned, so I'm going to click Save. That will create version 2 of my quote. And any changes I make on version 2 will, again, update that same deal ID. Okay. So when I create a new version, just some of the kind of technical steps we need to follow through. It's good. It is just a technical step that we need to complete before we can go and make any edits to the quote.
Nancy, you there?
Yes, I am.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, my apologies. Are there any questions while we're waiting for that to refresh?
Nancy, do you have kind of a step-by-step or a slide deck that walks them through this, or the videos where the partners would go for this?
Yes, absolutely. So I showed at the beginning of the demonstration all of the collateral that is out there and available on the Partner Ready portal. It includes the training videos that will take you through all these steps, as well as just printed material that can also be leveraged.
Do you have one or two that you recommend, or maybe you could send the links out to this is Toby Balsam, one of the field sales team. Maybe you can send it to Yahel, but do you have one or two that you recommend as just a good, solid reference document? Certainly it's valuable to go see the videos, but if I'm quoting a couple of HPE items and then I've got other tools that I have to access with other vendors and I get away from
Right.
for a little bit, I can come back to and it's that good, quick access tool.
Yeah, absolutely. The tips and tricks one. So I'll make sure that gets sent out to the team so that you don't have to go searching for it on the portal.
Yeah.
I'll send that over, and they can the team can distribute it for you.
That'd be great, Nancy.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so now I'm on version 2, and I just wanted to show you, once I get up over threshold, how you can escalate pricing. So on this one, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to excuse me, adjust my quantity. So I'll put quantity 10 in. Now, if you had new configurations, you could add those also to your new versions. The system, will accommodate, so you can go through and add additional configurations. If there is a configuration that was on a prior version that you have now learned is not going to be purchased, and you want to keep your quote and your deal clean, you can also delete configurations, but only do that if you know for certain that the customer is not going to order it. If you delete the configuration, then the pricing is also removed in terms of visibility, so you need to be careful with that. So I've added quantity 10 to just get me up over threshold, so I'm going to refresh pricing again. And I know we're almost at the top of the hour, but I do want to just take you through what the escalated pricing screen will look like. So this will just take a minute.
And Nancy, if you can show them anywhere they can view of what's the status after they submit for escalated pricing, does it give them any idea as to where it sits after they submit for escalated pricing?
I will show you back on the quote page. So what you will see is that it is escalated pricing in progress. Oh, okay. Seems we're having some issues with pricing here. So there are statuses definitely that they can see. It doesn't go to the extent of, saying where it sits in a queue with the bid desk team or anything of that nature, but it will give them a status so that they know that it's being worked. Okay, so now I'm up over threshold. And the threshold is based on the list price of the quote, so I'm at 195K, so I'm up over the 100K threshold. And now that I'm up over that threshold, my escalate pricing link is now active, so I can go ahead and click that. And when I click on the escalate pricing link, it takes me into a new page. This new page is for your business justification. So it is going to ask you for a justification type. So let's just going to say it is competitive tender. It's going to ask you for who your competitor is. Oops, sorry. and it's going to ask you for your detailed justification. So it's very important that you put in as much information as possible. This is the information that's going to flow to the bid desk team and will help them determine, whether or not the price point you're asking for is supported. So I'm just going to put in test here. You also have the ability to attach your pricing escalation form. So if you are, if you know that the pricing is aggressive, I highly encourage you to go ahead and fill out the pricing escalation form and attach it to your quote. That escalation form can also be found on the integrated quoting landing page. So it's basically just an Excel form. You can complete that and you can attach it. So once it's on your desktop, you can just hit browse and then attach the form. Once that form is attached to your quote, all of that information will flow into the Eclipse deal, which is viewed by the bid desk team. You can now provide a price point that you're looking for. You have two ways to apply pricing. You can apply it at the header level of the quote, or you can apply it at the line item. Because I'm in a new version of an existing quote, I have this new feature that allows me to click whether I want to apply pricing to all the products or just the new products that I've added. So in this case, I've only added one configuration, so I could go ahead and either add a requested net price or a discount percentage. Once I've done that, I would simply click submit, and that information would then flow directly to the bid desk team. I'm not going to do this because this is a production live quote, so I'm just going to go kind of click out of this and cancel the escalation, but I just wanted to give you all a flavor for what that looks like. Okay, so just very quickly, I'll take us back to the opportunity, and I'll just show you where you can look for the various quote statuses. If you've escalated pricing, and once the bid desk team has approved your pricing, you do receive a notification. So you'll receive an email notification letting you know that your quote is ready for review. So the quote status will be quote review, and that's when you would then have to go in and accept the quote. So I have one here that's in quote review status, but these are all the varying statuses of the quotes that have been generated against this opportunity. Obviously, there's a lot here because these are just being used for training and testing purposes. As you're creating quotes against your opportunity, at most you should only have two quotes, one potentially for BTO product and one for CTO, but you may see multiple versions of that quote, and once you have revised a quote, the quote status on your prior version just changes to revised status. So once I've escalated pricing, you're going to see this status, escalated pricing in progress. So if you've submitted for escalated pricing, it will be escalated pricing in progress. Once pricing is approved, it will be quote review. And once you receive that quote review notification, you do need to enter back into your quote, review the pricing that was approved, either accept your quote or you have an opportunity then to re-escalate if needed.